Well, hello, my YouTube friend. Today I have the extreme pleasure and luxury to present you this vid with such beautiful knives to present you. And actually, I'm going to do something that I adore, as you know me now, is to do a rant video while presenting you some knives. And basically, that's the thing, one of the things that I like the most in life, sharing my experience with people that I love and presenting in the same time their knives when they're knife makers or even collectors. That is something, yeah, if I could live my life going to shows, meet my friend collector and the maker, that would be something that I would highly appreciate. And yeah, I could live my life doing that. That would make my day, actually. So yeah, we have just passed the Paris Blade shows, plural, because actually there are two main shows in Paris. The CICAC, who is more of a regular show, as you can see in Blade, for example, to take a comparison, but the CICAC is not even 1/10 of Blade, but whatever. So basically, you know, like all regular knives, tactical, production, mid-tex, so that kind of shows. And then you have the Fix, which is more, I would call it artistic knives, more elaborated knives. Those shows where, I mean, I absolutely, there's no hate, Sean, absolutely, I absolutely adored them. To me, it was something, actually, it was a discrepancy, because I had one of the best time during the shows, and yet I don't know why I'm messing with that. I'm sweating a little bit because the action on this one is just fantastic. Yeah, I had one of the best experience in shows, and yet a lot of frustration, not for me as a collector, but for the people who were there, because France is not really a place where you're going to have some educated people about knives. I'm going to talk about that, of course. It's one of the reason of that video also. One of the points I wanted to address in that video. So, yeah, they're not educated about knives. They mostly don't know who the makers are. It was more of a local show. Of course, you had some collectors, but it's growing back. I mean, it will be better with time, probably. But for this show, it was kind of frustrating for me because, you know, people who come there for collecting knives, they appreciate to have the chance to purchase some knives, which is what I did, and also to spend some time with makers, which is what I did. But for the makers, it's also a business. It is a business, and they need to sell in order to, you know, to pay their bills, and that's their business. So they need to sell for sure. So I'm not worried about the American because they will always find a way. I mean, Alain Elishewitz, Bob Trezzuola, Anthony Marfioni, of course they will sell their knives. But other, like Tony Carlson, for example, who sell also his knives. I mean, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to a show like that, those guys need to make money. And it's never good when they don't, because they, at some point, they might decide to stop attending those shows, and that would be really unfortunate. But in the meantime, for me, it was extraordinary because it was more of an intimate show. So I got to spend, and you know that I'm coming from G8, you know, and comparing G8, I'm gonna. I don't know what was on the Blade. Comparing G8, which was a really overwhelming show, not even to mention Blade. Those shows are overwhelming. It's a tremendous amount of people going there. I mean, everyone is exhausted because, yeah, it's hectic. The makers, they're overwhelmed. Also the collectors, it goes like, it's crazy. I mean, it's a crazy event. So comparing that to these kind of shows here in Paris that were really calm, less people, and yeah, you know, let's start it by that. I mean, let's start it by Bob Trezzuola table that you know that I appreciate very much. I started with the CICAC, and he had all his table available. So first, he presented me that knife. That is just crazy. I want to discuss about that knife. So yeah, but my point was to extend what I was saying. The table was available. I mean, it was first come first serve, no lottery. And at the end of the day, I managed to get that one for me, to get those two for Scott. Maybe I'll keep this one. I don't know. We'll see about that. And to sell one, come on, he had 7 knives and barely he sold like, I don't know, 5. So that was incredible. People are, looking forward to get those knives. I mean, and he came with such a great batch of knives. Look at this one. It's just fantastic. The grind on this one. I'm going to present them one by one. So yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about this knife that is now my acquisition. And this knife actually has some history. So this design is made by Bob Loveless. Bob Loveless, who you know is the father of the modern cutlery, and he made only fixed blade. So he wanted a folder, and obviously it chose one of the best maker to make it for him, Bob Terzuola. Bob did that design, and he made 6 of them that he sent to Loveless, and Loveless basically, I don't know, kept one maybe and or offered them to his friends. So Bob named that knife the Model 6 for those 6 knives. After that, he made others, but it's not a model that you expect to have with Bob. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's a really small one compared to the others. You don't find it that often. So for me, it was, yeah, a real collectible piece, especially since he found a collector of his who, gave him those beautiful, extraordinary pieces of Westinghouse micarta, and he found in his garage this very old piece of Chad Nichols Damascus. So you have like an ancient design, traditional design, ancient material that was extraordinary for me to get that. The only thing that is not really modern, that is not really traditional, is the piece of carbon fiber, but who cares? The thumb stud is in massive gold. I absolutely adore that knife. That's going to be a heirloom. Not so much because of the design, but more because of its history. It's just incredible. Love it. I love it. Then, yeah, we have those 2 knives. Like I say, they didn't sell for some reason. No, not for some reason, because people were coming at me. I stayed at the table, and I had dozens of people coming to me and was like, oh, yeah, interesting knife. And I said, well, you know what you have in front of you. You know the luck that you get to have those Terzuola available. And mostly those people, they didn't even know Bob. So the issue is not that the market is low or something like that. Absolutely not. The issue is that those kind of shows, this kind of show actually here, is, like I said, doesn't really get much of knowledgeable collectors, and that was the only real thing unfortunate, because look at that material. That's what I want to keep it actually. I mean, the design is crazy. For 2 things I want to keep it. That is not Kevlar. It's what Bob calls how does it call it? Brawl micarta. So that's a micarta actually, and it looks really, really great. And the colors of Mokume, 3 colors Mokume, also the thumb disc, are crazy. And he made only 2 knives with a double fuller like that. Look at that grind. I mean, it's incredible, with the hand rubbed on the flat and his usual finish on the bevel. Incredible knife. And now check the other one. I mean, a beautiful piece of lightning strike carbon fiber. Very nice superconductor. I love the combination of the lightning strike and the superconductor. Check that. Incredible knife. Just a beauty. Look at that grind. It's silly. Look at this. It's like kind of double tonto here. This duplex grind is just fantastic. I absolutely adore that knife too. I mean, I wish I could keep them all, honestly. They're just incredible. But you see, people had that first come, first serve, and they didn't take it. And the same applied for Len Elishewitz, for Tony Marfion. So that's the same story. People don't know those guys, and they don't know what they have. Also, Glenn Waters, what a gentleman. He came with those knives, and yeah, they were available. So Scott was interested. I couldn't. I mean, I'm taped out after Las Vegas. I'm really taped out. So yeah, those were available. So yeah, luckily for dealers. I mean, you don't want to get them. Unfortunately for you, those pieces are incredible. Look at that, Glenn. I mean, I presented them in my video with Glenn. Those are incredible pieces. I presented this one, but look at this one. This is pure massive zirconium in a matte finish on both sides. And in order for the lock to be more secure, I don't know if you're going to see it here, but there's a long liner in titanium. Yeah, you see it. It's going from the back spacer here, and the lock actually is titanium, okay? But that construction is crazy, incredible, with those nice engraving as usual, and the perfect finish on this knife. So yeah, available. Then what can I say? Yeah, those knives actually were the only one that were sold in lottery. So this is the hi-fi collaboration with Tashi Barusha and Philippe Jourget, who is with Thierry Savidan, with I don't know, Raphael Durand, Tashi, of course, the elite of the French cutlery. This knife is just absolutely insane, and I'm going to present it in a video of its own. So let's not talk about that. Let's get back to the human being. So yeah, like I said, we had some time to share a lot of experience, human experience with Glenn. You cannot imagine the conversation that we had with this absolute gentleman. That's an absolute gentleman. I absolutely love Glenn. And Glenn, if you watch my videos, really believe me, you're also part of the family. My daughter loves you. It's incredible. We had also the chance to spend even more time and family time with my family, my daughter, with Bob, but I'm gonna make a video probably with my daughter that wanted to make a special video, so this one expected to be a kind of a sentimental one, because yeah, that was overwhelming for me and for her. So yeah, we get to spend more time with the Terzuola. I get to ride with Susie on my bike in Paris. We get to have dinner. That was extraordinary. Also had some time with my sister, Tony Carlson, that does those incredible knives. And he's becoming more and more, in between artsy and tactical, because now he's making flippers, also with clips. Man, you should really get a knife from him. This is the usual work from Glenn Waters with all those engravings. What an artist and a delightful person. Philippe Jourget, I'm going to talk about it. And also my crush of the show was Alan Elishewitz. Alan, we crossed paths on all the shows that I've attended, and I've spoke with Valerie, his wife, but mostly I had some reluctancy, to get to the man, because he looks like an angry guy, looking from distance like that. But he's working, it is how it is, and it's just the way he looks. But when you get to discuss with that guy, what an incredible person. Yeah, like I say, he was my crush of the show. And, I had to thank him. 3 years ago for my anniversary, he made me that knife. And for that, I will always be grateful, because he did it for me with my specification, with the skull that I absolutely adore. And still, as of today, I really, this mini saboteur has a fantastic grind. I am less, there's no accounting for taste, so I'm less prone to get his newer model, but those one really speaks to me. And more importantly than that, forget about knives. My angle here was, the human being. So I haven't spoken a lot with him, but the few moments that I had to spend with him were incredible. And Alan, nice to meet you. After all those years, nice to meet you eventually. So yeah, like I said, a discrepancy between the extraordinary human experience that I get to have during this show. And yes, I almost forgot to mention, I may have spoken about the knife makers, but I forgot to mention also the collectors. There were not many, unfortunately, as I say, but there was one, my sister Maria from Russia, that I absolutely adore. Maria is such a great person. And actually, I have been invited in St. Petersburg, and believe me, I have one word, and I told her and his father and her father that I will be there. That also is family, because I consider her almost like my sister. So yeah, I'll go to St. Petersburg to visit them. So you see, this is what this community is all about. Having pleasure with knives, and also sharing with a lot of people. We are heading to the 15 minutes. I had to leave it at that and have many more to say, but yeah, like I said, it has to stop. Bye bye.